So what do you need me
Are you
for?
leaving me crooked in there?
Yeah. I kind of want you to kind of be half excused because there's a Christmas tree right there.
Oh, that's a good
Move the
thing.
tree.
Yeah. I have my Christmas tree. It's in the closet.
Mine's
though.
black.
Oh, you have
Mine
yours
is
up all
black.
year round too.
Yeah, I have my Christmas tree up all year round.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's black. And it also has the background one for the star.
Mm-hmm.
The top. Yeah. Anyway, why do you have a burner phone like you're a drug dealer and shit?
I have a pastor phone.
You have a pastor.
And a personal
Oh
phone.
my god! All right. So I
You
don't.
call me and reach me on the pastor phone. That's the one that
That's
I
the
have
one
to
I call
go.
you on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So all right. So. Yeah, I don't even know what I wanted to talk about this time.
You had an idea, but that was a
I
couple
did.
weeks
That
ago.
was a couple weeks ago, and then I get really sick, and then I get sick again. I'm sick today, but your turn to pick the subject because I picked the one last time, the first one, which I have to recolor and then I have to edit down.
So,
editing it.
I think if I remember correctly, I mentioned to you, because I talked to you a while ago and asked if it was all right if I talked about our relationship.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. You did that. You did that not here, but
No, here.
you did it here.
Yeah, right here.
Oh.
Which is why, like, if I was going to talk
shit.
about our
All right.
relationship
All right.
in a place where no one knew you, I would just change the names to protect the
So
innocent.
what
But even if I change the name here, there are people here who will know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
And so
Yeah,
I need to make sure you're okay before I
no,
do
I'm
that,
completely
right?
fine with that. You can.
And so,
Yeah.
so the reason that I wanted to do that was because the reading that day, I thought, lent itself to that. And that was a reading from the book of Acts about St. Peter, who had gone to visit, who God showed him in a vision that he needed to go somewhere. And so he went to that place, and when he got there, the people that he met with were not his regular kind of people.
And we previously talked about Peter because I had a conversation with you on the phone about who he was like upside down with.
Right. So in the vision,
yeah,
God showed Peter, brought down a blanket, and it had all these things on it that were unclean, at least according to Peter's understanding of things. And in the vision, God said to Peter, "Get up and kill and eat." And Peter said, "Well, no, nothing unclean's ever touched my lips." And so this happened 3 times. And then the voice said to Peter, "What I have said is unclean, you shouldn't say, or what I have said is clean, you shouldn't call unclean." Right? And unfortunately, within the world of Christianity, there are lots of people who have ideas about what is clean and what is unclean, right? Who are worthy and who are unworthy. But my understanding of that is in Christ, God has made all things new, and therefore, when I see people, it's not up to me whether they are clean.
Michael actually thinks sweat is unclean, which is not. Like, remember he talks about So Michael thinks sweat is unclean, which it's not. It's actually cleansing.
Right. And as it pertains to our relationship, right? I mean, here's the deal. When I think of myself, like my own image within the church, and even visiting as I did on a visit to a church that I served on internship, the picture of the pastor there at that church is he's a different person than me, right? We're also very close. Like, I love him the same way I love you. Right? I
love you,
And he's on the opposite end of the extreme. Like, I see myself sort of in the middle in a way in that.
I got you.
Right? Like, so he's a pastor who I respect, love, have very, like, fond ideas and go, that he's an image of someone I would like to be like.
Right.
In that way.
I get you.
Right? Except for he's he wears all of the garb all the time and all of those things. And I'm not saying anything wrong with that. I have all of the garb.
Right.
Right?
Shit, I don't know.
And there are times that I do wear that. And
Right,
that
right,
I think
right,
that
right.
that is, but that is not who I am.
As
And it's
As
not
a
where I'm
whole.
comfortable all the time in that way.
Right.
And so when I went to visit, he was all dressed up as he would. He's the pastor there.
Right.
And I came just basically like I am today in
Right,
shorts
right,
and
right.
t-shirts with my tattoos. Like that's just
Right.
the way it is.
yeah.
And
You have tattoos.
so, right. So some people in the church, and even in this place, I have had that experience lots of times when people come here
Yeah.
who don't know that I am the pastor.
Right.
And they meet me, like, and they'll come in and they'll say, "Oh, I'd like to talk to the pastor."
Right. Right.
To which I go, "You are talking to the pastor."
Right, right,
and they
right.
go, "Oh."
Like, oh shit.
And then they
yeah.
look at me
Yeah.
and I'm not what they had imagined. And so they have ideas about that. Now,
Which is
most of the time,
that's what we talked about last time.
right. So
Yeah,
in
like,
many
we literally
cases,
talked about that last time.
fortunately, we are able to have conversation with those people, and then they come to understand that, oh, maybe things aren't as I thought. Right?
Which is the best way to be, I think.
Right. And so when I thought about that in terms of our relationship, and what I wanted to share was, it's easy for the world, and I know you experience this because you have told me this, right?
Yeah.
People in the world, what the world calls normal.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They can very easily look at you, and they can look at me and go, "What's wrong with those guys?" Right?
Yeah.
What's wrong with those people? Or stay away from those people. Right? And I know you have that reaction sometimes. I have that
all the
reaction,
time.
right?
Yeah, every day. Is about, yeah.
And so when Peter, in the story that was for that week, Peter goes back to the church where he was from.
Right.
And the people in that church in Jerusalem, it says, criticized him and go, "Why were you hanging out with those people?"
Right.
And Peter told them again this story about what God said. I've said they're all right, and if I say they're all right, then you should think they're all right. And so, in my relationship with you,
Right.
that's my understanding. God has already said Phil's all right.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's not really my business to make a decision on that other than what God has already showed me.
Right.
And so
coming
that's
from
what
the
I'm
opposite of
thankful
that,
for.
from my end,
Mm-hmm.
I've said you were right. I personally said you were right. It wasn't about a religion or what the Bible told me, which I know the Bible. You know, I know the Bible. Like I know this tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Which I always forget about this tattoo sometimes. So there's
So
also
you
that.
forget about that, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So there's that. Sometimes you forget about what the words say.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean, this tattoo said. I always remember this one. Keep the faith. You know. But and as me as a person, as soon as I met you, I was like, this guy's alright. As soon as I walk out the street, if I meet somebody I've never met before, that guy's alright.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I would, until you don't turn that other cheek, or until you pull out a knife and stab me, I guess. I kind of be like, oh, you're you know, like then I'd be like, you're a shitty person. You know, you get what I'm saying?
I do.
And
My worry is
that's how I feel, and you're coming. You know, you come from that opposite spectrum because of the you know, you're going by the words of the Bible, where me as a philosopher, if you like, goes by how I don't judge anybody. I never have. I mean, that's a lie. Fuck, that's a lie. Everybody's
Thank
judged.
God.
Everybody's fucking judged anybody.
Right, we do.
Yeah, it's natural. But like, to turn somebody away, Mom could tell you this. My mother could tell you this. Somebody that would be my worst enemy, that should be somebody that I should turn away, I wouldn't do that. And she can definitely tell you that. I talked to one this day. To this day. I still talk to that person.
The fear I have is that I know I am highly confident.
All right, there you go. That's a better way of wording it, I
I'm
guess.
pretty sure.
Like,
Right? And this is what I generally tell most people,
right.
especially at the beginning of relationships, and us, and definitely when they say things like what you just said to me.
Right.
Right? And what I mean by that is, I'm not a good guy. I am thankful that I am able to see some things through the lens of faith versus through my own things.
Right.
But what I tell people usually is, there will be a time, it's almost guaranteed, when I will do you wrong. Not even necessarily because I want to,
Right.
but because that is the darkness that is in my nature.
In our nature.
There will be times when I will look at my phone and go, oh, fuck, it's Phil.
Right. Exactly.
That will happen.
Right.
Right? And you may not even know it. You may just go, oh, he didn't
Obviously.
answer. Right?
Exactly.
But I'll know it.
She does the same thing.
Right?
Look at her fucking. Look at her.
And-
Look at her right now.
Yes, I don't want to interrupt you though.
No, Mom, you're fine.
I have a friend that I know her family, and she's she's a little
Mom, you could say slow. She's slow.
yeah,
She's
and she's the
mentally challenged. Yeah,
sweetest
she's
girl in the whole
Oh, God.
world, and she's so kind, and she'll get on the phone, and if I don't answer right away, she'll keep on calling.
Ironically enough, who gets to hear about this?
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll say this person, and she's so sweet, and Phil knows, it's a kind of a friend of the family, and everything, and I just say, oh please God, give me patience, because she has 3 different subjects.
I'm not gonna lie. I've done the same thing with Mom.
She said,
Oh, she called. I'm like, Mom, fuck.
yeah, but she'll have 3 different. It's cars, weather, and then a lady that's well known around Ravenna, and friend of the family. And then maybe Bowen and her ex-fiance.
Right.
And it's all that. And then
Right.
I try to be interested. But,
She
what I
takes the
do
interest.
is I put her on speaker. I mean, I hate to, but I'll go,
Sure.
and then I'll start doing work.
Right.
Because she's so kind, and I want to be kind with her, because I'm afraid
But-
that some people are not kind to her.
But all 3 of
Sure.
us in this room
Yes.
have done the same thing.
Yes.
Probably to each other.
Sure.
Yeah, like I do the same shit to Mom. I'm like, I ain't fucking answering this shit. It's
And then
9:30
you'll be
in the fucking
on your.
morning.
Well,
on
right.
your
So, and
tangent.
that's why even
And she
when,
does the same
for
thing.
example, when I don't get to one of your calls
Yeah,
or
no,
texts
I'm fine with that.
early, I go, oh, I apologize.
No, it's fine.
But at the same time,
No, I get it.
it's
like
those are-
fucking Phil.
and so
Like, all right,
the
I'll call him back
struggle
later.
is-
Right.
like, we live in a world and in a place and time where what I hear, like people, they do what we were talking about a little bit, right? We make these judgments, and it's an either or thing. It's like either they're good or they're not good. There is not this truth, which is like, and that's what my shirt
In the gray
is,
area, right?
right?
Yeah. I know what that
which
means.
in Latin means simultaneously justified and sinner, right? Simultaneously sinner and saint. And so that is my understanding of all people.
Right.
Like, there aren't good people and bad people. There are people who
You know
are
what my
both
hands
of those
say.
things.
Yeah, demon and angel.
Right? That we are two
Duality.
things. We are old creatures and new creatures.
Right.
We are sinners and saints. And so when people start to think that I
Actually goes back
am
to
good.
this too.
right.
Yeah.
So when people
Sorry,
start
like,
to
you know,
tell
I know
me,
my Bible, so like I was like, yeah, it goes
people
back
start
to
to
that,
tell me
Yeah.
how, like, it's one of they go, oh, you're such a good person, or you're so, like, occasionally people do say those things to me. They catch me by surprise, and I go,
All right.
yeah, I'm not. Don't.
Do you say that to him?
I do.
Oh,
They
fuck.
don't know what to do with that most of the time.
Because you and I are friends, and we're different, and we have a different relationship. But the other people that I know that you talk to, I
Mhm.
can see in their head being like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Well, and the folks here
Was it-
start to get used to that
was
in
it
a
the
way.
drug phone or the other one?
That's the personal phone.
That's the
but-
ring, because I get that.
Yeah, I was making
So
Yeah.
we want to. I mean, it's. I think part of our human defense mechanism, in a way,
okay.
is that we want to compartmentalize things into places where we can sort of go, okay, this
It's
is
natural.
it's natural, right? I think it's part of our human condition,
Yeah.
right? But the struggle is that things can't really be compartmentalized that way. We can break them up in our brains, but that doesn't actually do that in the rest of the world, right?
Kind of. I mean, to a degree, but I will serve it justice. Like that, you can do that and you can put it away, right? And then, but like, obviously that shit's gonna come out.
Right, eventually, right?
Yeah,
That's the thing.
but
is-
like, for a while, it can be put away, you know?
Mhm.
And sometimes when it's not needed or wants to be needed, it's
Mhm.
gonna cry out for you, you know? Like,
Mhm.
it's like a parasite, if you will. Like you have a drawer that you put that shit in, and you're like, hey, this
Mhm.
goes here. Oh shit! Well, then I fell over. Basically, you fall over, and then
Mhm.
that drawer comes open. You know, so like that.
Good stuff,
Does
right.
that make sense?
It
Like the way I
does.
can put it. Like
Sure.
that's the best way I can put it.
And so the way I see that play out in the world in so many ways is it is so much of what we see in the news. And
Oh fuck! I hate the
what I
word
mean
right
that
now.
in the
No.
sense, and I'm going to make a generalization, is
But
the
that's
news is either tends to be, maybe not the regular news, but like let's call it the Saturday morning shows or the sun, the
fine. I don't know. She watched that
60
shit.
Minutes or that,
Yeah,
those
something
kinds
like
of
that,
things,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're either stories about fall from grace, like
Right.
someone who was good and now has been
Right, but that's what the
Found
people
out,
enjoy.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. People enjoy that
Or
shit for some
they're
reason.
the flip side.
It's all masturbation.
They are
I know it sounds
people-
bad, like the way I'm putting it.
That's
but
okay.
It's the most easy way to put it. It's all masturbation.
Right.
It's literally they either fall or they're up.
Right, the other route, the other way. So
Yeah,
either
so
there's
it's like-
stories about someone who was
It's two strokes of the
No
same
good.
masturbation. Does that make sense?
Right.
And it sounds fucking vulgar to put it like that.
Right.
But no, it's the same stroke of the same thing. Like so, down, up,
right.
down, up.
So if you're a person who
And I
is
hate
seen,
saying it like that, and I've seen that, and then, like
Sure.
I've never was able to actually word it like that in front of somebody because
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure I wrote it down before. But yeah,
Right,
it's all
so-
masturbation.
but you see, one of those stories we like, and one of those stories we don't like. I mean, one of those
No,
stories,
both.
but what
For
the
some
one is
peop-
lifted up. The
Right.
one we go, oh, it's the person who was down
Right,
and they turned their life around and made good,
right.
versus the other one where we go, oh, this person was good, and then they are.
Yeah, but
crap.
then that makes you feel like awesome. Like
It makes you feel good that they're crap.
Right,
right?
exactly. That's
So
that's
in
what
that
I'm saying.
sense,
Like,
yes.
not me, but like I always feel like shit when somebody is like, oh shit, like I hated that Prince died of fentanyl and he was a Jehovah's Witness.
Mhm.
You know, like I'm not a Jehovah's Witness at all, but like he was very religious and wouldn't take drugs until that shit happened, and it seemed like, oh fuck, now they
Right.
stomp his name through the
Right, which is
Yeah,
why
and-
I'd
and I
rather
don't like
us
that.
be honest
Right.
about the truth. Like I don't
Right.
try and sugarcoat who I am,
right.
because later on I don't want people to go,
Yeah,
well, we
fuck-
thought you were a good person, and
Yeah,
you
fuck
turned
Dan,
out to
I'm leaving.
be.
Yeah, like yeah,
no
yeah,
good.
exactly.
I want to go. I've been telling you I'm no good right from the get go.
Right.
What part of it didn't
I mean,
you hear
I
the first time?
I can walk into a room and I always
Mhm.
light it up, and you know this, just without, for lack of a better term, sucking my own dick. Walking into a room and I light it up, right? You do the same thing. Like you walk into a room, you light it up. You know, you're different. You're not what somebody would normally think of as pastor. I'm not normally as somebody that thinks that if I were like, if I called one of my friends and was like, hey, I'm hanging out with Pastor Dan,
Mhm.
they'd be like, what the fuck, you're at a church right now?
Mhm.
You know, they think the same thing, but different. Like they're like, you're not like that at all. I'm like, I know. But the thing is, people are people and we're connected, and there's a reason you and I met.
Mhm.
And it wasn't just because of my dad's death. It wasn't just because
Right.
and I mean, partially probably because it's fucked up ass church. Because like, look, I mean, fucked up because like
Mhm.
what I went through here. But like I don't like going downstairs. And you know why? But we became friends and almost family, like to a degree. Like I know if I call you, if you're like fuck Phil, like I don't care. Like I care, but like I know in the future you're gonna reach out to me. Be like, oh Phil, I'm sorry I missed your call. I was busy doing something else. Whatever.
Right.
Right.
And if I'm just not taking a call, I'll tell you that too.
Right.
I feel like talking to
You
you
just
then,
did.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. And I appreciate
Uh-huh.
that. So there's a respect there. And I think there's, as people in general, like you're religious, I'm not. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious in any sense of the word.
Well, in the sense of,
Even though I look at Martin Luther every fucking day. Jesus Christ.
right?
I wake up, I'm like, motherfucker, he's
Must be
looking at
doing
me.
something for you. Anyways, but
It's
I mean,
like-
and that's even as you think about, as you like to talk about us, right? As
Right,
a
right,
preacher and a
Yeah, yeah.
philosopher, right?
Right.
I mean, the thing about those is really both of those things, in a way,
Yeah.
are a search for meaning or understanding of life and the world that we live in.
You got it. Right on point. You got it right on point.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly it. That's
Um,
that's the whole reason why I'm wanted to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
and so the way I think about that
Are you sunburnt?
is,
Sorry. Got
no,
distracted.
that's from me going like that.
Oh.
No, I did the
Do you
flip.
stemming?
I'm staying.
What's that mean?
When you have autism, you stem.
I'm probably on
I'm
the spectrum.
autistic, so I stem.
We're all
What,
on the
what is
spectrum.
that?
Yeah, it's like
just
if I do
emotion?
this,
Oh, I do stuff all the time.
or like
Oh,
yeah,
motion.
yeah. Oh my god! All right, that's besides the point.
Okay, I'm gonna go to
You're
the restroom.
definitely autistic. Anyway,
No,
Yeah,
I'm not. I have OCD.
Anyway.
horseshit.
So,
go to the fucking bathroom. Love you, mom.
Love you too, sweetheart.
right. So in that search, like that's the
Right.
when I think about it.
Is
right?
it a search for connection, or is it the search for that we're kind of disconnected from what we think we have a connection? This is too much of a deep thought, and it drives me fucking nuts every night. So, am I too disconnected that I'm trying to search for a connection, and I feel like that everybody's like the same way because they can never see behind my eyes that I do the things that I fucking do because they can't see what I feel or and see. And
Right.
like, is that why we as humans, is that why we fucking keep on running around and chasing circles and we do violence to each other for no fucking reason? But we think there's a reason. We placate that there
Sure.
is a reason, right?
Sure.
Like the Bible even actually talks about that. And
Well, I think there is, to your question, first question, right?
sorry,
Is this
sorry, Matthew.
sort of
Sorry,
right.
you know what I mean? I'm reading the Bible in my head right now.
um
Autism.
well, I'm
sucks.
glad you can do it better than I
Right.
can. But I think there is a truth to
Matthew
this
6:12. No.
need
Sorry.
for connection. Like that is when
Where's
I,
that animalistic? That's my third point of
well, I
that.
don't have I don't have, because I am an animal. We are animals. It's part of
Hence comes
the
this
thing.
satanic Bible back into the conversation. Sorry, you
That's
already knew I was
okay.
going to bring that up.
So
Once, you know I was going to
so
bring it
well,
up.
right, but
Yeah.
and here's the thing.
He wasn't a bad guy. Anton LaVey was not a bad guy.
the as individuals, right? Which is what God makes us each, right? And does exactly as you described.
Yeah.
Like, and so of course, and I look at that through that lens for sure.
Fuck! Sorry. I think the camera went off. It did. Mom, you're supposed to be watching this.
You sent her to the bathroom.
I did. Jesus. Well, we got this one. And I'm still in it anyway.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, anyway.
So, no worries.
Sorry. So the red light should be right here, and it's not. And yeah, it's dead. Whatever.
See, that the beauty is that just proves the point that no matter how hard we try, shit don't work the way we expect it to. Right? But there is that.
Oh my God! Wait, 25 minutes.
That is the. I mean, because we are all individual, and we can't. You're 100% right. We can't see what's behind our eye. You know,
Right.
we can't see
Like I don't.
into a person.
Right. We
Right?
know what each other went through, but we don't know.
The whole of it,
Right. Exactly.
or
And
the
do you know that fucking
the experience
sucks?
of it. Right.
That fucking sucks because at any time, like, it's also like how somebody looks at you. Like, they don't mean to judge you, you know? Like,
But that's what they'll do. We
Right.
can't help it.
right. You're like, oh, why does this motherfucker have these tattoos?
Mhm.
Why does he dress the way he does?
Right.
Why does he have.
Yeah, and I ask those questions.
Right.
Those are good questions.
Yeah, and the Bible can't
But
answer all that shit.
No, those
And
things.
it's not supposed to answer all that.
Right. I don't. And as a matter of fact, the whys, nothing can answer.
Right.
There is no answer to the whys. I mean, we can find small answers to small questions of whys, right? Very
True.
small,
Very. Yeah.
Very
yeah,
small.
yeah. Like
right?
basically a fingernail clipping, if you will.
Right,
Compared to
So-
a whole person.
right, because we don't know the bigger story.
Right,
of that,
right, exactly.
So
Is this why you and I connected? Like,
well, right. So we can say we had the why of that.
Right.
Right. You
It's
can say, well,
like brainwaves and
why
shit.
did we get this? Well, we can explain that in small ways, but we can't really
Right.
explain that because the why we connected also has to do with the things in my life, the entirety of my life that
Right.
led me to the place where we connected,
Right, you're
and the
21 now.
entirety of
You're
your
21.
life.
You're
Right.
20 years.
20. Right. So it took 45 to 50 some years
Right.
for each of us, for all of those things to bring us to the place where we
Right.
made a connection.
Yeah.
Right. And if any of those things
What
didn't
was your
happen
connection
that
to
way,
me though? Like what? All right. So mine. One of the biggest things for me, just as a human being,
Mhm.
was that you knew once I started reading my dad's eulogy that I wrote for him that I couldn't fucking handle it, and
Mhm.
I screamed "fuck"
Mhm.
3 times.
Uh-huh.
I watched it, and you grabbed my hand,
Mhm.
and I was like, and I looked at you, and I was like, "This motherfucker, the fuck." Like normally somebody would be like, you know, go, get the fuck out, you know.
Right.
But you literally, like, I grabbed your hand, you grabbed my hand back, and that was without words the connection. And you were like, "No, Phil, we're good." And even though we had talked before that, you know, but like I was like, "Oh, he's a cool dude and shit." But as soon as you grabbed my hand like that, I'm like, it was wordless. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
I think it was the same for you too, to a degree. You were like, "Oh fuck, Phil's fucking screaming."
Well, but the thing is this, and I mean, not to try and make it into something that it's not,
Right.
But it is, as we've talked about numerous times, right? Really, how I think and understand these things now,
yeah,
right, is there is a truth to me that is what I'm thankful for. And it even goes to the 2 phones that we joke about, right?
Right.
Because they are
I
different in
feel
a
so
way,
bad.
right?
I was just making a
No,
joke.
you're
Yeah,
cool
yeah.
because they make a good example.
Right.
When this phone rings, which is my personal phone,
Right. That's the wife and shit.
it's one of my family members or someone I know
right.
that's not connected to me through the church.
Right.
Which doesn't necessarily mean I should ignore them or anything,
Right.
but they're calling me as a person, right?
Yeah.
This phone, which is my pastor phone,
Right.
the people that call me on this phone or contact me on this phone are calling not to talk to Dan, the person,
Oh, I am.
I know you are. And you might,
sorry,
right?
sorry.
But let me get back to the connection piece, right?
Yeah.
But if I wasn't the pastor, if that's not what God had called me to, then we would never have met.
Oh.
That might not be true.
I mean, that may not be true, but
No.
we would not have met in the way we met.
Exactly.
And we wouldn't have had the experience that you're talking about.
Right.
And so for me, when I think about that, it's not like when I am in my office, when I'm serving in this office, I have to take seriously what we talked a little about earlier and to go, whoever God puts in front of me, they are God's people.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter if they look like your mom or if they look like you or if they look like any of, doesn't matter who they are or what they look like. If God puts them in front of me, that's God's business, and I should treat them as such. And so that is, if someone, I mean, because it's also true in my personal life, I am a normal person, and I don't look at everyone as a gift that God puts in front of me just from my normal human perspective.
Right.
Now, because I spend so much time by nature of my calling in the pastor role, that bleeds over. And so it makes me then see in my personal life all of the ways that I fall short in those places. But at the same time, I mean, that is what for me has been a continued learning and growing as a person, is to go, that's what I then pray for, is more strength to get beyond my own personal ideas and thoughts and see things bigger than they are. Now, that's not a thing that in our current culture is really valued.
It's hard.
Sometimes people call that hard. Being like woke, when you realize that things are bigger than you, right?
I like to be woke. I don't know if what the fuck people like. What I always hated that term, woke. And then when people put that term down, I'm like, I like coffee and shit. And, I don't like coffee. I can't even drink
because
coffee.
You see, that's the thing is, and there is no one definition. It's very broad.
Right, but for me, I think of when I think of woke, I'm like, I can see things, I guess.
Right. You can see things.
Right. It's open mind.
And it's about being open, having an open mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And my mom has a gay rainbow on her fucking arm.
Yep.
And she's straight as fuck.
Right.
My daddy. Mom, quit saying you're a supporter because that sounds so fucked up. That sounds woke. No, I'm just joking.
Well,
sorry,
the thing is, but you see, that's
why
that's a struggling thing.
So, the way I just said that you can't be like, I'm a supporter. Mom, you're fine with people that.
I know. Well, I look at
whatever.
Okay, my
just
Bob
being
Ross,
honest.
My Bob Ross. I got this.
Mom, are you asleep? Open your eyes.
Bob Ross.
Sorry.
At the thrift store, a Bob Ross, and it's a rainbow Bob Ross. It says good vibes only. And I go to Walmart and stuff, and people look at me like,
nobody looks
different.
at you.
Oh yeah, they do.
No,
a little bit.
They don't.
I don't care.
They'd rather push you down. I'm just making a joke. I'm making a joke.
I know, but
But nobody looks at anybody at fucking Walmart. Nobody they're just like, I want to buy these grapes, but I'm gonna only eat a couple of them.
I love Walmart. We have a thing. Do you want to share it with Pastor Dan?
What?
About Hat Day.
Mom, that was not at Walmart. We went to a fucking thrift store for hats. Not at Walmart.
No, we went to Walmart and you were
afterwards.
Afterwards, we had a hat day, and then we had a scarf day, and now
we had scarf day when we went to the movies yesterday. We went to see Karate Kid Legends.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it?
He didn't like it. I did.
I
mean, he was okay with it.
Cobra Kai on Netflix is amazing. Karate Kid Legends.
And I liked it, but
thumbs down on that, huh?
Yeah, it was like so fucking.
Because that's Jackie
And
Chan.
I explained it.
Did they have
to-
Jackie Chan?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
He
But like,
wasn't ever in any of the Karate Kids.
yes, he was, and the one with Will Smith's kid,
Oh
Jaden.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
so
yeah.
bad. I watched that movie.
That was I never saw that.
Oh,
one. I never saw that one.
don't do yourself a favor. Don't.
The
And
only
don't
ones I
watch
saw
this
were
movie.
the Karate Kid, the original, because I was a kid,
Right.
and then Karate Kid 2, because I was still a kid.
Oh, that's a
then,
good
Did you
one,
watch
too.
3?
right. I don't. What's 3 with the girl?
Oh no, that's the next Karate Kid.
Oh,
So you got.
I didn't
1,
see
2,
that one.
We
What
got
was 3?
1, 2, and 3 with Silver, the dude that he's in a hot tub and shit. He has the long hair.
Oh no, I never saw that one.
he comes back into the show.
Okay.
Oh god, the show! I'm telling you, I'm
Cobra
about
Kai.
to- Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
so good.
I
It
haven't
is.
watched that.
That's why I
either.
was so pissed off because I was like all excited. I was like, oh
Yeah,
shit,
we'll
this is
go
gonna be
to that.
awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we watched the movie, and for the first 20 minutes, I was like, please just, rather put like toothpicks underneath my fingernails. I'm like, this is
Yeah, the
bad.
kid was kind of.
You know, it's so annoying. Like the actor and the main actor couldn't act worth shit. He was an Asian dude, but I'd rather. There was a girl, and she was a better actress, but they like kind of like, oh, it's his girlfriend, kinda, but
Mm.
not really.
Right.
And then you have the other dude that was like, oh, I'm a fighter, and
Yeah.
like it was bad.
But see,
It was-
I
I
never-
hated it. I didn't hate it, but it was not worthy of being in the theater.
Yeah. Well,
To
then
be
they-
honest, it was like a Lifetime movie.
Yeah. And they showed a little
That-
bit of.
it's
Well,
like-
there's just so much stuff.
Oh,
They just
so
keep
bad.
making
But
so
we
much
watched Final
stuff.
Destination,
Uh-huh.
Bloodlines. I took her to
Yeah, I
Tony
did.
Todd's last movie, and she doesn't really watch a bunch of horror
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
She loved it.
But no, I was
She
gonna s-
loved Final Destination Bloodlines.
Mhm.
It was really good,
Right.
actually.
I
That
was
movie,
gonna
I was
say-
like, oh shit. It was really sad to watch Tony Todd because he was dying of stomach cancer. It was his last movie.
Right.
That's why I wanted to go see
Mhm.
it.
But I learned about New York. He's been to New York a couple times. I
Like
don't think I'd
6
ever,
times.
New York City.
Right.
I don't think I'd ever want to go there.
No.
It's
And
not-
then
I mean, I've
dude,
been
she was
there a
asking me
couple
about
times. I don't love it.
She was asking
either.
me about martial arts moves
Uh-huh.
previous before we went to see the movie, and then there was something called the Dragon Kick. I'm like, that is not a real thing, but they just fucking did because like
Oh, sure.
I'm a
Right.
4th degree
Uh-huh.
black belt,
Uh-huh.
so like, oh god, it was so bad. It was like a dragon kick is literally like an uppercut with your foot.
Right.
It's not a jump this way
Yeah.
and then spin and do 19 different moves
Right.
and then hurt like kick somebody. You know, like, and I was like, what the? That's not even self defense
Right.
anymore by that
Uh-huh.
point. Like, yeah. So the movie pissed me off.
Right.
I like
Which
it.
is right. And
I
that's part
liked it.
of
I didn't
the-
love it.
You see, that's back to what you just said. Back to the
Judgmental.
original Karate Kid idea, like the whole idea of whether a thing is and there is defensive
Right.
or offensive, right? Like
Right.
things that, like,
Make you go, I was like,
well, I mean, but they, right, like, what do we use the things for? Do we use them to do harm or do we use them to protect?
right.
Do we use those? And that's generally,
Right.
same thing goes when it comes to religion of any kind,
Right.
whether that be Christianity or any kind,
Right.
Satan, anything.
Right.
If those things are being used to dominate or to control or to
But isn't it religion
manipulate.
for like a lot of people? To me, I feel like religion is to control, to affect.
I think that's what people think and use it for. I don't think that's what it's for.
Yes.
Yeah, but like you don't do it, but like other people do for sure.
Right, because that's the beauty of these conversations. I'll tell
Our
you what
fucking
I
president does that right now. I'm
Yes.
not gonna try to get political, but like that
No,
motherfucker does
think.
that.
That's exactly right.
Shit. Yeah, thank you.
And that's the thing, as you see, we can talk about faith and religion and what have you,
Apologies.
but I don't spend any time trying to convince you that I'm right. I just tell
Right.
you what I think. Like, I don't have a need to do that or to control you.
Same thing.
Right, and that's the difference is we can share what we believe.
Right.
We can share those things, and I can be guided by them. I mean, I may
Right.
be guided by what I think in those ways. I mean, we all will.
Right.
I mean, we will. Every person will act on their beliefs because that's how you act.
Exactly.
That is by nature. If you
Right.
think a thing does something, you will act based on that
Right.
belief, whatever that belief is.
Right.
Right? If you believe apples are good, you will eat apples. If you believe
if
they
you
aren't
believe in
good,
eating turds,
you won't. You'll do whatever you
you'll eat
believe.
turds.
If that's what you really
yeah.
believe, that's how you know what people
That's how you
believe.
know what to-
Because you go, oh, well, they did that, so
Yeah,
clearly
they
they
ate the
believe
shit,
that,
like, for
right?
thing
Oh
with
my
it.
goodness.
So
People drink their own piss now. Like,
we
it's
will
fucked
act
up,
on
you
our
know?
beliefs,
Right.
but whether or not, but it's not really, like, I don't see religion
Mommy,
or
try to giggle
Christianity
right now?
as a thing to, it's not my business to control
Right.
anyone.
Well, I just heard a rumor. Well, it was on TV, and some people
So
are
you heard a rumor that was on TV.
was
Like,
on
There's lots of those.
But
yeah.
anyways, it was on TV.
At least
that
it wasn't
people
on the
were-
internet.
No, yeah, it was. I know it was.
Yeah.
But anyways,
You
I
out
don't do
drinking
the
your own
internet.
piss?
But anyways, it was about
Eating
that
shit?
that no
What?
that President Biden really isn't there. He's a cyborg.
Oh, my wife told me.
Holy
that
fuck. Hold on. What? Hold on.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. What?
There's this conspiracy that he died like in 2020 and they replaced him with a cyborg. That's what my wife was telling me. And apparently the current president may have said, well, maybe.
Are you fucking serious? Hold on.
That's
so
true.
So
That's
somebody was
true.
like, maybe.
I mean,
Well,
it's
because
like they
he says
said.
that stuff about stuff all the time, the current
Oh,
president.
he's a fucking.
Oh man.
People are saying, you never know.
You know,
I know
think I told
somebody
you this.
that's
one
like
of
that.
my one of
I know lots
One
of
of-
people.
one of my
that are like
dads-
that.
Who?
I know lots of folks that are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know
They
Dad,
never committal on anything, but they will go, well, people say those things. I
can
know
say
lots
I-
of people, and they
I
give me
can
all
al-
kinds
I
of
can
stuff.
also say I'm uncircumcised, which I'm not.
Mhm.
Like I can
Say
it's a
whatever you
lie.
want.
Like it's like whatever the
I'm not
fuck
going to ask you to prove that.
you should.
Oh, don't even say that. Oh my God. Did you know about
What the fuck,
Reverend
Mom?
Angeli?
Who?
Ernest Angeli.
Ernest, yeah.
Yeah, did you hear
Uh-huh.
the story?
I've heard all kinds of stories.
Yes, yes,
What?
yes.
What,
But
Mom?
he didn't.
Jesus.
He wasn't.
Sorry.
It wasn't family welcome. He. I don't want to talk about it.
Mom,
but
you just about pissed yourself to tell
but
a story.
Men,
Come on.
he wanted to check the men to see if they were circumcised or something.
He was actually checking. I think that he wanted them to all get
circumcised.
fixed.
Okay.
Tubes tied, kind of.
Oh,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the fuck. What?
Yeah,
Because
Ernest
he
Angeli,
thought
you
he was
didn't hear
teaching
this?
them that they shouldn't have any more kids because this is the end times and they weren't
Oh,
supposed
that's
to.
what that was. So,
Right.
but there was other things
There
going
all
on.
kinds of things going on
Yeah,
with that.
He had a fucking telephone in his wife's.
Yes.
Oh,
Jeez,
he was
it's
a-
still there.
I know.
Weird stuff.
And
Right.
I've been
I
to
went
his church on just for shits and giggles. I was like, I'm gonna check this shit out.
I liked his banquet. He had a banquet.
We
He had a
went-
buffet,
then we-
right.
Buffet.
Hold
But
on,
the
then we
people at
got-
the
we
church
went
had to
together.
work there for basically nothing.
Nothing.
Hold on, we went together.
No,
yes, we did.
Not to church. I would not
No,
go
to
to
the
that.
buffet.
No, we went to the buffet.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
got
we
that.
went to
And
the
it's
buffet.
good food.
It's really good fucking food.
It really
It
was.
really was good
I
food.
mean,
I
you had to
remember
wait
that
in
shit.
line for a while.
But basically the people were like slaves. They had to work
Yeah.
Oh,
there
yeah, they were
and
like-
not get
no,
paid.
no,
Well,
and
it's
do
not
this.
talk. Yeah.
Right, and that's the thing is that's about using religion
Then as
to
a
control.
Yeah.
Right?
We just went
And
fucking
that
full
is
circle.
not what it's about.
Not
It
at all.
is about freedom and liberation, not about control and bondage.
But we also talked about servitude last time, and I'm
Mhm.
like, that's one big thing that I don't like about religion because
Is
it's
what?
servitude. It's like, I just can't bring myself to. I'm not. I guess I'm everybody's selfish, but like I can't bring myself to be like Aunt Michelle. I can't bring myself to be like Aunt Michelle, where it's like fucking that's runs her life. I'm like, I thought I was supposed to have free will. I was supposed to
No, I don't think you're supposed to have free will.
like I was supposed to be who I am.
You can be, right? I mean, I
Mhm.
don't have, like, and again, free will's a whole nother topic, and I don't believe we have it, first of all. So,
I know we talked about that. We touched on that subject.
Right,
Before.
but the thing is, and that does go to the idea, and that's what I was talking about in my off, right? That in a way, there is a matter of servitude, if you wish to use that thing, that we are called to serve, right? Which
Right.
is also an important thing that moves us beyond our own self to our brothers and sisters, yourself included, right? Like,
Gotcha.
I need to get past me in order to care about you. Otherwise, all I really need, I mean, my default is like everyone else's. What's good for me? What do I want to do today? What do I feel like doing?
Yeah.
What?
I gotcha.
See, that's what you.
That's
when
a
you get-
normal default
Right,
human
right.
setting.
Yeah, as soon as you wake up.
Right?
like,
So
what the fuck am
I
supposed to do?
need to say, this life it's got to be about more than just me.
Yes.
Right? And it's also then for me, at least in my experience.
I feel like
right?
it's for all of us. Like,
Well, for
me
all, but I don't
included.
want to speak for you. I want to only speak
Yeah, but for me,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like it's all inclusive.
Mhm.
Like if there was, I mean, what the fuck they call it in the 80s? Members only. Like you get a members only jacket.
I used to have one when I was a kid.
Jesus.
Little things up here.
Did you?
Mine was burgundy,
Oh,
man.
fuck.
It was cool.
What?
That was styling back
Oh,
in the day.
don't
Come
use
on
her
now.
word.
Yeah, that's why I said
Oh,
I
fuck.
either go mod or I'm styling.
Yeah, see?
Oh.
I'm going mod.
Kill me now, one. I'm just making jokes. But no, I don't believe I just live for myself. I believe I'm here for
For a
a
purpose.
servitude, like a bunch of. I just use that word,
All
servitude.
right, so
of
you
reasons,
just said it.
but like not for that. Like I feel like I'm here, Mom. I will help you out, and
Sure.
and be like, Dan, I'll help you. You're like, you know, like certain things like
So
that.
where do you see a difference?
Where do I see a difference? That feels get it?
Mhm.
Feels like that's all encompassing. Servitude to a book, if you will,
Mhm.
written words that you know, I go Old Testament.
Mhm.
Like, and it was actually in there, kind of. Is that I don't feel like I have a purpose. I'm here for you guys. You know, like I'm here, not necessarily just for myself, but for everybody else.
Mhm.
You know, like I will do what I can to make the best of what your life is, or
Mhm.
her life is, or other people's
Mhm.
is. So to me, servitude and that aspect, which people believe
Mhm.
religious what it was like, oh, I have to serve Christ and blah blah blah. Well, okay, that's one entity, right? It's one person that
Mhm.
like lived a long fucking time ago. Right?
Mhm.
So for me, I don't think like that. I think it's all encompassing.
Right.
So like servitude, for me, is not like what other people would think. You know, like,
Right.
does it make sense?
It
I'm
does.
trying to present
It does. But that you see, and that's where, and here's where it's also important, in my opinion.
Is that your burner phone? You
No,
selling
this is the
drugs right
pastor
now?
phone.
You're selling drugs right now?
No. This is my pastor phone because I want to find this
2 kilos of
this friend of mine who's
Uh-huh.
a pastor
Aw.
who shares too much stuff. Like you
Okay.
can't keep up. If you share 100 pieces of stuff a day,
Yeah.
you can't keep track.
So it's not like
anything.
dick pics or anything.
No.
Alright, thank God.
TMI.
Because you said shares too much. I was like,
Yeah, I go TMI.
making a joke. I didn't know you had a freckle on
I don't know what I have.
your feet. Look like they have AIDS. I'm making a joke,
Yes,
obviously.
you're fine.
I got put your feet away, Mom. I'll put mine away if you put yours away. God.
So, I mean, this
Yes.
is just a quote from Luther in the sense that and there are other ones, and I want to say it because it goes to what you're saying.
Okay.
Christianity can be summed up in the two terms, faith and love. Receiving from above faith and giving out below love. And so another thing that Luther said, now he didn't speak English, so he didn't say it this way, right? Basically is God doesn't need your good deeds, but your neighbor does, right? And so that goes to, I mean, as a Lutheran Christian.
When he did speak English, actually, he had a really heavy accent. That's actually in a different book.
What's
Yeah,
that?
you already know what I'm talking about. Like, I've read about that book too. I'm like, they didn't know what the fuck he was saying. But
Luther didn't speak English.
No, he did. He literally would try to speak English to people, but he didn't do it well.
Well, they didn't even speak the kind of English we speak
Well,
back then.
it's different. We don't even speak English technically here.
So anyway,
All right, sorry. I can
let me
go
get you
on
back on topic here, Phil. Right?
Sorry,
The
we don't even
idea-
speak English here.
Right, is that, and that's where Christianity is not the same everywhere. I mean, it's just not. There are a million versions of Christianity, but there's really only, I believe, one true one, and it's not what I have because I'm not perfect. So I don't mean to say, oh, what I think is truly Christian and what someone else thinks is not. What I'm saying is,
With your Alpha and Omega tattoo. Sorry.
yeah, that's it.
You know I'm talking about it.
What I'm saying is,
Alpha and Omega.
You're right when people, that it is, I believe, a mistake to think of Christianity and to think of Scripture, for example, as the thing that we strive to uphold or to do. And so for me and for Lutheran Christianity, at least as Luther so spoke it, not necessarily what passes for that in our world today, but in my understanding of how Luther spoke that really is this idea that, and that's what this tattoo is.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
The cross alone is our
thought you were
theology.
gonna go there. That's why I was
Right?
looking at it.
Is that it is through that lens that we read the Scripture, and if what we're reading doesn't line up with that lens, then we have to reread it because that's the lens. And so, if everything doesn't show forth Christ, and what that means is the grace of Jesus, then the Scriptures are of no value. If it doesn't, well, Luther said, if it doesn't show you Christ, then it's just words like any other book.
Right.
And so my goal isn't to, and it's also why, I know the Bible pretty well, but I don't know it all. And I don't need to know it all.
Right.
Now I can read it.
Right.
I can go, I can study, I can search things out. But the thing that, what is important
You
in
can
those
memorize it
is
as much
that
as
I
you
can memorize it all I want,
Yeah,
but that's
and
not
it
going to
doesn't
make a difference.
Right, exactly. But the
But
thing is,
in those things, if they lead me to look upon my neighbor and see them as truly a human with all the stuff that comes with them as a human, and at the same time, beloved. When I can see in them that they are both a sinner and a saint, a person who is struggling with the same things I'm struggling with, and the same needs for love and connection and all of those things, and see them as one who is connected to me.
Do you think you would ever be able to look like what I do try to do with you is look on your side of the lens, and do you think you could ever? Probably not. It'd be fucked up if you ever looked on my side of the lens.
I try to.
Yeah, I know. Isn't
Yeah,
that hard?
right.
Isn't that fucking hard?
That's
It's so
right,
hard.
because that goes to the old saying, right? To try and walk a mile. Like it's not just hard. It's impossible.
I do like your Nikes,
right?
But my feet are bigger than yours.
It's impossible
Exactly.
because, like, I've shared that with people here. I hear people say this all the time, right? They look at something that someone does, and they go, well, if I was in their shoes, I
Right.
would do this, not what they did.
Right.
And the problem is,
She does that shit all the fucking time.
if
so-
you do that, you have to remember, if you were in their shoes,
Right.
you wouldn't know the things you know
Right.
in your shoes.
Right.
You would only know the things they know.
You know what's funny? I just told her that shit last night.
Um,
I did. I told you that last night. I was like, I can't. I don't know. You
right, so if you were in their shoes, you'd probably do the same thing they do. Because you would have had
Maybe.
their life experiences.
I'd probably smoke a cigarette.
You would have
in
had their
between.
things, you know.
I'd probably smoke a cigarette.
Maybe.
I'm
But
just
if you hadn't
making a
been
joke.
you might not have been there. That's the thing is.
Right, because
you would
I
only
can't
have
judge
their
her
experience.
because the way my dad. About to say something not so good about my dad, which you already know.
Won't be the
But-
first time.
Right, exactly. I love him,
Right.
and she loves him too.
Mhm.
She let that man just talk shit and be an asshole her whole fucking life, like my whole life. Like,
Yeah, not all the time, Phil. When he was
Mom,
sick.
you're just trying to make
Oh, but what other choice is there?
But so, I mean, I wouldn't have been raised by that man, and I wouldn't seen what I seen, and not be. I would flip. I wouldn't be such a rebelling against that shit.
Mhm.
Like I would. I always try to bring people up. I don't try to put them fucking down. I'm not trying to be selfish, which is everybody. It's hard for them to be selfish. My mom is the most least selfish person.
Well, the
ever.
thing is, Phil, that he worked a lot of nights and afternoons, and I pretty much
Yeah,
raised
so
him.
you're making excuses right now.
Right, right, but you know.
Well,
No.
but the thing about your mom is this. Who she is, who you experience her to be as a
Right.
selfless person, as someone who is not selfish and
Right.
tends to
Exactly.
the needs of others, because clearly she cared about her husband, right?
Yes.
And
Clearly
I did
she
too.
cares
and
about-
I did too.
Right, and she
Yeah.
cares about you, right?
Right.
And that's a reality that's hard for anyone to grasp, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
I have
Mayo was
kids.
dying for 3 years.
Right.
Like,
I have kids and
Ugh.
I love my kids, right?
yeah.
It's my prayer that I'm not driving them around when they're your age, right? And I'm not trying to say that in a bad way, right? But you see,
I get what it was.
That's been her life experience.
Right,
That's how
right.
she became who she is.
Yeah.
She didn't come out of the womb that way,
Right.
right? She has been shaped by that.
Yeah.
And
To a degree, I was actually better in Pittsburgh because,
Mhm.
I let go of my license when I was there. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, yeah, love Pittsburgh.
and so that's part of
But like now I can't leave her because I came back. So in my head, fuck, I can't leave her because now she's alone. Does it make sense?
But no, I'm fine.
Horseshit.
I'm fine.
Well,
Philip.
I think if you left,
She'd probably
it'd be
fine.
harder on you than it would be on her.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and I'm.
And I don't mean that in a bad
No,
way,
no, no. 'cause
right?
I can make.
I mean, the
I
reality
can make
is-
a bunch of money there.
Even
But
at-
like, and I like have a community there. Like, but I'd be thinking, oh shit, my mom's by herself.
Yeah, and I'm not encouraging you to ditch your mom.
No, I'm gonna.
However,
yeah.
The lesson I've had to learn,
Right.
in my life, because I mean, neither me or my wife, our parents, none of them live here. And they're getting to places where they are
Right.
struggling in different ways. And not only that, you see, that's the beauty, again, of what I have gotten to learn through my experience as this pastor is,
Mm.
in many cases, people have ideas about how what I should do for them or with them or all of these things, right? But the reality is I'm not able to do those things, even when I want to, right? And part of it's because I don't know about a lot of those things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the difference with, for example, with like you, is you talk to me, you contact me, you let me know, and then I can know,
Yeah.
and we can do those. But most of the time in our lives, and with lots of folks, we don't ever say anything, but we expect everyone to know.
No.
right? We think people should know, but we spend most of our time trying to hide our stuff. But we think people ought to appreciate our stuff, but we don't ever share our stuff, right?
I do.
You do, right? That's
my
what I
mom,
appreciate.
My mom
with you.
says I overshare.
People
You
tell me
do?
that all the
I
time.
don't give a fuck.
Right?
No, it's just what you should do, I think.
Well, and for people, my guess is I can speak for me. I think for
right,
you.
right.
I think for you, but I can speak
No,
for
yeah.
me. That part of that comes from, and what I do know a little bit about your life experience as well as mine is, comes from getting to know and meeting lots of different people.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, we come to appreciate the fact that there are lots of different people and that there are people that are affected in different ways.
There's billions.
And for many people, today still, and throughout most of history, our worlds are very small. Like there are lots of people I know and that you know, right, whose world doesn't exist much beyond this little town. Right?
Mine does.
And yours does. Mine
yours
does. Right?
Hers does.
Yeah.
But lots of
Yeah.
people,
They don't have
not
that-
so much.
Right, they don't have
right?
that experience.
And maybe they have only had lots of people in the past, less so now, it's becoming less common now, but for when I was growing up, when you were growing up, it was standard for a lot of people to graduate from high school or college, whatever, and then work
Right.
for the same place for 30 years and then
Yeah.
retire and live in the same house and go to the same school and go to the same church and do all this. And I have people like that are members here, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No. I mean, because
But
you need
it's
that.
also,
There's sad.
that is important for me when I understand that to go, when those folks struggle to understand sometimes things that are outside of what their experience is.
Yeah, because you get to see both.
Right. Then
so,
I
yeah.
then I can have a certain amount of empathy
Right.
and a certain amount of understanding that it's not their fault. They just have never experienced that. And
What's the furthest you've been in the world? Mine was Korea. Mom and I were just
well,
talking
the
about
furthest I've been, I suppose, is Germany.
Germany.
Oh, nice.
Did you like it?
I loved it. I mean,
I
it was,
fucking love Korea.
Oh yeah, because
I mean, we did the tour of sort of Lutherland,
Yes,
so
yes.
I got to see,
Yeah.
sites that
did
were
you go
pertinent to those things.
You did World War II or tour? Did you?
No, we didn't do that.
I went for, like,
And there wasn't in the parts of Germany that are sort of the Lutherland pieces. There was not a lot of. I mean, there was destruction, but those aren't places that were completely
Do yourself
destroyed.
a favor. I was just telling Mom about this movie. It's called. It's with Kieran Culkin, and it's about them going to Germany. And they're Jews.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna see Kieran Culkin. When you see him, you're gonna be like, "That's Phil." You're gonna be like, "Oh shit!" Because I was watching, I was like, "Oh fuck, he's a dickhead." But like, he just says whatever is on his fucking mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's called My Own Pain, or
Now, when I was in Germany,
oh, it's so good. It's such a good movie. It's on Amazon Prime.
all right, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Now,
Sorry. Or no, Disney Plus. It was Disney Plus.
well, then I won't check it out.
Hulu? Do you have Hulu?
I don't currently. Maybe I can find someone's password. But
Yes.
anyways,
Yeah, ask your wife.
One of the memories I have from Germany, which I'll never forget. I mean, I have a lot of memories from there that I won't forget, and most of them are positive in a sense. Like they were good experiences,
Okay.
right? I had one experience that I would sort of mark down as a negative experience, and that's when I visited the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin.
That's in the movie. Yeah.
Right, which is just a bunch of
Yep.
pillars, all different sizes, all over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
That's actually in the movie. Oh.
And when we were there, our group, and just sort of walking around, to me, that is a solemn place. a place
Did you feel?
of remembrance. I didn't experience it that way, and here's why I didn't experience it that way. Because there were other people there. And some of these other people, when I was there, were playing Marco Polo.
Get the fuck out of
Oh
here.
no.
Get the fuck out of here.
You know the game? Marco Polo.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. Fuck
In
it.
the Holocaust.
Oh, so disrespectful.
That I see.
That's problematic for me.
No, it'd be problematic to me too, because I would be the dude that would be there with you, because I'm not a pastor, and be like, I'm gonna chop you in the fucking throat.
Right.
Like dead serious. Like I'd be like, that's fucking disrespectful. You should be arrested, or I'm gonna chop you in the throat.
Well, and that's
That is so disrespectful.
that I'll never forget that. You can be in a place like that, and even there,
I want to puke now.
it makes you sick. It made me sick. Right. It made me sick.
Right.
Right.
It's fucked up.
Like, how do you do that?
Were they kids? Were they
I think they were younger, but that's.
younger or kids?
I mean, they were not children.
All right, then that's
They were not
That's a
children.
fucking difference. If I saw kids do that, I'd be like,
Right.
I get it. You're like, because you're like, oh, I'm
Right, but
somewhere
if
where I don't know
if
what
I was
is-
with and had my kids, I'd very quickly let them know that's not appropriate.
Chop 'em in the
you
throat.
know?
2 chops.
Right.
Like, you don't fucking do that.
But that is the thing is,
Ah.
no matter, you can be in a place like that and you will still find the truth of our human
It's not
disregard.
humanity. Yes.
disregard
That's
for
the best
others'
way
pain.
That is the best way to put
Yeah.
it. We should end on that, actually, because
And I do want to make a suggestion. There's a couple songs by James Blunt,
Oh, fuck.
Monsters.
Oh, I'll play it for him. Yeah.
And then there's another one, Soup